Hello, boils and ghouls, and welcome to a special Spooktober edition of Just Hit Play with your hosts Peter and Nick Cabral. If your stagnant, streamed music feed needs to be raised from the dead, then strap yourselves in for an intergenerational sonic journey to the dark side, where Peter and Nick introduce you to their favorite spooktastic songs.
Welcome to episode 111 of Just Hit Play. I'm your host, Peter. With me is my co-host, Nick. Nick, how's your morning going?
My morning's going well. Didn't want to get out of bed this morning, but we're here, we made it, and I'm really excited to talk about some music on the last episode of Spooktober.
Yes, this is it. So Halloween is just around the corner. We're hoping we've moved houses, so we're hoping that where we are now, we will get some trick-or-treaters. The last house we didn't get any trick-or-treaters, so we're hoping that we will get a few this time. So we're going to buy some candy and see what happens.
Yes, hopefully. I mean, the nice thing about Australia is I guess you guys don't have to worry about the weather too much when you're trick-or-treating like you do here.
No, the weather's been actually brutal lately. It's been so hot and so dry. We had a little bit of rain today, but like my grass in the backyard is dead. It's just brown. The grass in the front yard is okay. It's funny moving to a place where there is droughts. We came up with this genius idea of trying to save water. You know when you turn on the shower and you're waiting for the water to warm up?
Yeah.
So we have a bucket in the shower and we collect that water.
Ah, nice.
And then we use that to water plants and flowers and in the garden. So that's what we use. Water that was just going to be wasted as we wait for the water to heat up. Not that we have to wait very long. I did take a cold shower this morning because it's so bloody hot here. But that's what we use to water the garden, basically.
Nice. That's a good idea, actually. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to waste anyway. So a lot of people, what a lot of people do too, is they take the wastewater from the washing machine and they use that to water the garden too, because it's soapy water. Soapy water is fine. It's as long as you don't put like bleach,
right,
or heavy chemicals like that. Soapy water is fine to use in the garden. So that's another thing we're thinking about doing, is buying a very large bucket and collecting the wastewater from the washing machine.
Nice. Just some water hacks for you.
Yeah, it's crazy the things you have to come up with living in a very dry, desolate place.
Yeah, but as I was getting at, the benefits of living in a dry, desolate place is, at least for the children, they don't have to worry about incorporating jackets into their Halloween costumes like kids have to here in Canada. I remember it was a yearly struggle between myself and my parents, because I thought a coat would ruin the aesthetic of my Halloween costume, but
it would ruin the line. Yes.
Yeah, they were rightfully telling me that if I didn't wear a coat, I was going to freeze to death. And yeah, every year.
It's funny, being the Portuguese household that we were, dressing up wasn't a thing. Like, I would just put on my dad's clothes and go, I'm just going as a homeless person. That's usually what I did every year. I just put on your grandfather's clothes and just go, I'm a homeless man.
Did you at least like smear some dirt on your face and
no, nothing like that? He was an interesting guy. I'll tell you a story about my dad. You remember where they lived on Hillside in Streetsville?
Yeah.
So I was driving to see them, and my dad was walking down the street with lumber in his arms that he had stolen from a construction site, because why pay for wood when you can steal it from a construction site? I stopped the car. He opened the car door, dumped all the wood in the car, and goes, I want to go back for some more. Drop this off at the house. So yeah, he would routinely just steal lumber from construction yards. Now, he would also burn that in the fireplace. So I was slowly poisoned because a lot of that lumber is treated with chemicals. Yeah. And sometimes he'd forget to open the flue of the fireplace and just the smoke would come billowing inside the house. So I like to joke that I have no idea how smart I should have been, because I was slowly poisoned as a child.
Yeah, you've got some brain damage for sure from that.
Yeah, so nothing like burning pressure-treated wood in a fireplace, poisoning the neighborhood, as because you remember that fireplace, you remember that basement. Yeah, that's where. That's where I was slowly poisoned as a child.
Wow. Wow, that explains why my dad always says that you have some latent brain damage.
Yep. No. Yeah, he would have been older because we didn't move into that house until your dad was a teenager. I would have been 10 maybe when we moved into that house. So yeah, so my brain functions were slightly impeded, I think.
Well, here you are. You made it. You made it here today, at least.
Yep. And I'm living in Australia. Love it here. I went out for a walk this morning, and I probably spotted maybe like 30 or 40 kangaroos just jumping around. So that was kind of cool. I went into the bush a little bit just for a bit of a walk around some wetlands. And yeah, there's all these kangaroos, and I saw some tropical birds. So it was a good morning.
Wow. I can't imagine seeing 30 to 40 kangaroos casually in the morning. So yeah, that's cool.
It's still, even though I've lived here for almost 17 years, it's still a nice treat when I do see, a mob of, I think it's called a mob of kangaroos, just around. Yeah.
A mob is a really cool name for a group of kangaroos.
Yeah, I think I got that right. I think that's what it's called. There's a video going around now where a guy fought off a kangaroo as it was trying to drown his dog in a lake or a pond or the ocean. I can't remember where it was. And he literally gets into a fist fight with the kangaroo trying to save his dog. He did save the dog, but yeah, the kangaroo was trying to drown his dog. Yeah.
I feel like I've seen a couple videos like that of people boxing kangaroos to save their dogs.
Yeah. It's dogs and kangaroos are not friends now.
Good to know.
Yeah. Are you ready to get into some music?
I absolutely am.
All right, so I'm going first this week again, and we're listening to the Crow soundtrack because it is Spooktober. So we're listening to a little bit of spooky music. So the song I got you to listen to was The Cure and a song called Burn. So, Darren, just hit play and let's hear The Cure. So that was from The Crow, released in 1994. What did you think of the song Burn by The Cure?
Yeah, I loved it. Almost liked it more than Dead Souls from last week. I think The Cure are one of those bands that can do no wrong for me. Yeah. Like some of the other bands that I've become a big fan of through this podcast. They're definitely one of them, and I haven't heard a Cure song I dislike. Burn continues that trend. I think it's lovely for a lot of different reasons too. I really like this one.
So when the band recorded this song, so unlike Nine Inch Nails that were sort of coming into, their heyday, like we're about to go into Downward Spiral for Nine Inch Nails, which was, one of the greatest records they've recorded, or maybe even ever recorded. The Cure were in a transition period, so a lot of their old members had left and they were bringing in a lot of new members. So this was a new sound from The Cure, because even though they do have a darker sound, it wasn't quite like this. So this is quite a different sounding Cure than had been around in the 80s. So this was a nice surprise for a lot of people like myself who was a big Cure fan. Anyway, to hear a darker, more rockier sound that was coming out.
See, this song actually reminded me a bit of like Cuts Off Disintegration. I did see a bit of a resemblance to some of the longer form songs that are on that album, because I like Disintegration so much because it's
great album.
The songs are longer, all the instrumentals are more fleshed out, have more time to breathe, and I don't know, I find at times that album can have darker undertones.
Yeah, The Cure are not afraid of a dark song. Like, that's what they've known for. There's a great line when they got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I don't know if you saw this. The reporter who was going to interview them was very excited, and she goes, and they just look miserable, The Cure. And she goes, "Are you as excited as I am that you got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?" And Robert Smith goes, "No, probably not." They are they've always been known as a dark band, but I think for me this song just had a little bit more of a 90s grunge sort of aspect from it, from the songs that they released in the 80s.
Yeah, I do think it's a bit heavier for sure than the 80s songs, while maintaining that really dark undertone and atmosphere. This song is all atmosphere. It's like the long instrumental sections to set the tone and the mood. It's they do such a good job of putting you in the world of the song and the movie that the song is for.
And this song too was written specifically for this soundtrack, so the band took a lot of the lyrics from the comic book. So The Crow was originally based on a comic book before it was made into this movie. So they really delved deep into the comic book and brought a lot of the lyrics over from the book itself. Now, how much do you know about the movie The Crow? Like what do you know about this movie?
I know that it's about this guy who something terrible is done to him and his fiancée, and she dies, and then he turns into this like vigilante superhero guy that wears the face paint, and he's like hunting down all these criminals at night and taking care of them. And then I know the guy, the Brandon Lee, I know he died after he did the movie. Yeah,
he died in the movie. So the James O'Barr, who was the originator who made the Crow comic book, his girlfriend was killed by a drunk driver in 1981. So he wrote this comic book as a sort of an escape from his darkness that he was going through from when his I think it was actually his fiancée when she was killed by a drunk driver. So there's a lot of darkness to this comic book already. Now the movie itself was made for pretty cheap, and we'll get into the cheapness of this movie in a little bit. It was made for $23 million, and it made almost $100 million at the box office. So it was quite a huge success compared to the budget that it had. And it just became a cult movie. Now, one of the reasons why it became a cult movie is because Brandon Lee, the main actor of this film, was shot and killed while making the movie. Principal photography had almost ended, so a lot of the movie had been shot already when he was tragically killed in a gun accident, basically in the movie, which was a terrible tragedy, and I think that's one of the reasons why this movie became a cult classic.
So he died in the making of the movie, like
yes,
like a prop gun situation, or
yeah. So here's what kind of happened. I'm just sort of learned about this, so I did a lot of research before I started this episode. So when you go and make a movie, you can buy dummy bullets that are quite expensive. So to save a little bit of money, the prop guys just took real bullets and removed the gunpowder from it, which was a mistake, number one. So you're not allowed to do that, number one. So that's against regulations, first off. And then they had an actor. They didn't say who it was. They had an actor who was playing around with the gun, and it misfired, and a bullet got stuck in the chamber that no one knew about. Then the firearms expert was sent home early that day to save money. And one of the first things that the firearm expert looks for is any bullets that might be jammed in the chamber. The person who took over was not a firearms safety trained person, and he didn't look for a bullet that was stuck in the chamber, basically, that you couldn't see. You actually, from what I read, you actually would have to investigate to see if there was anything jammed in the chamber. You can't. It's not something you can just see visually.
Right.
So then they used a prop bullet, but the prop bullet has gunpowder but no shell. But because it has gunpowder, the bullet that was in the chamber already came out at a force that was a little bit slower than a gunshot, but still powerful enough to hurt someone. And the Crow famously cannot be killed, so he's shot multiple times in the movie, Brandon Lee, and his wounds always sort of heal because he's dead already, so it won't actually have any effect on him. So he gets shot a lot, Brandon Lee, in this movie, and unfortunately, the prop gun went off. Bullet stuck in the chamber, hit him in the stomach, and he died from his injuries not too long after that.
Wow, that's so tragic. Like,
yeah,
such a regrettable avoidable
Completely. Completely.
mistake. You know, like
Yeah.
yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah.
And all I can think about as well was the incident involving Alec Baldwin that happened
Right. Yeah.
recently, which bears a striking resemblance to the story from The Crow. Um,
Yeah. You
yeah,
shouldn't you shouldn't cut corners when things like that are about to happen. Like, you have these experts for a reason, checking things, checking to see if there's a bullet stuck in the chamber. You know, there's a lot of things, processes put into place to deal with things like this. So it was just error after error that let him down. And this was, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this was Brendan Lee's second movie. And he was, this was this was going to be, this was going to make his career. He was going to be a pretty big star after this movie. And he unfortunately was a big star, but, died tragically.
wow. Yeah, that's awful. That's awful. Awful
Yeah.
story. I can imagine it definitely added to the legacy and cult status of this movie, though.
Right.
Um, yeah, that's especially with what the movie is about and like the themes of
Right.
the movie and who it would
Yeah.
appeal to already. When you throw in a story like the main guy who was in it like got shot and died making the movie, that just
Yeah.
adds to the whole mystique of the film, and I feel like enticed people in even more.
Yeah. And, before the internet, when you could find out specific information, because he is shot so much in the movie, you don't know when he was shot, like what
Yeah,
sequence in the
yeah.
movie. Like, we remember watching, I was like, I wonder when he would have been shot in the movie. And sort of reading about it now, I sort of know what scene he was filming when he got shot. And the poor actor who shot him, because this was filmed. This was like they filmed him being shot. The actor that pulled the trigger apparently went into a deep depression, and he didn't work for years
Right.
because he killed someone, accidentally, obviously, but that really messed with his just mental health. And yeah, it
Oh,
was an
I can
unfortunate
imagine.
accident. Yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
that's
do you know
terrible.
who Brandon Lee's father was?
Christopher Lee?
Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee? No
Bruce Lee.
way.
Yeah, so Bruce Lee also died tragically young, left behind a very small family, a very young family, and his son Brandon Lee also died tragically young. So if you look up Bruce Lee and Brandon Lee, of course on the internet there's going to be like the curse of the Lees, and there's
Right,
like
right.
there's so much bullshit going on about how the family's cursed, and it was like the triad mafia in that was out to get them and all this bullshit. So no, it's just an unfortunate tragic accident that happens to families.
Yeah, yeah. Extremely tragic. Um, I definitely do want to watch The Crow. I just, I've really struggled finding time to watch movies when
Mm.
it's not in a theater. I feel like I need the
Do
theater
you need that
atmosphere
atmosphere? Yeah.
to like lock me in and remove all distractions. So I actually find it quite difficult to get myself to watch a movie at home. But the next time
Interesting. Yeah.
I do sit down to watch a movie, it will be The Crow, and I will
Yeah,
report back.
I don't know if it's on any streaming services or what streaming service it's on. I own a copy of obviously of The Crow because it's one of my favorite movies. Yeah, I'd be curious to see where it is out there on streaming services.
Yeah, well, I'm sure even if it's on not on any streaming services, I'll be able to sail the high
You'll be able
seas
to
and
find
find
it.
it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, FBI
yeah.
don't come for me.
That's right. That's right. Now it's allegedly you'll be able to
Yes.
find it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, and again, this soundtrack is a really good soundtrack. It has My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult in it, The Violent Femmes, Stone Temple Pilots, Nine Inch Nails, as we mentioned, Jane Siberry, who's a Canadian singer who sings a song on it. Yeah, it's one of those really cool soundtracks that I've always loved over the years, and I bought it as soon as it came out because there was all these really cool bands on it. So I thought it'd be a perfect time to listen to it during Spooktober.
Yeah, well, like I said, you're 2 for 2 on songs you've gotten me to listen to from the soundtrack. It definitely helps that it's two of the bands I've become big fans of
Yeah.
since we've started this podcast. But yeah, great songs.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with The Cure. I mean, they've written some really poppy songs like Friday I'm in Love and Love Cats and what have you, but you can't go wrong with The Cure. There's such a darkness there and they write a good song, they write a good melody, so you can never go wrong with The Cure.
I was after Thanksgiving weekend, I was driving my sister's boyfriend Jacob home from Paris and back to Toronto, where we live.
Paris, Ontario.
Yes. Was not crossing the Atlantic. But I asked him if he knew any songs by The Cure, and he said he only knew Friday I'm in Love. So I said, all right, let me play Pictures of You, because I think that is like by far their best song.
Yep,
and so different from their poppy stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, I played Pictures of You, and predictably he was like, wow, this is incredible. I thought they only made like the poppy sound and what have you. Yeah. And I went, nope, go listen to all of Disintegration, report back.
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah.
The Cure, good band.
Great band. And this was it's funny because they're an 80s band. When they released this song, it brought them to a whole different audience. And a lot of the new audience that loved the song complained where they wouldn't play this song live because it's not one of their hits. This is just a soundtrack song. So eventually they added this song to their playlist after the fans from this time period were requesting the song to be played. So this song was added to the Cure playlist.
Yeah, and I saw on YouTube a video of them performing it at Glastonbury not too long ago, like a few years ago. Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, no, one of the sleeper sort of not well known songs from The Cure, but one of their best. I love this song so much.
Yeah, well, big ratings for me. I'm a big fan.
Cool. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about your song now.
Yes. So for this week, to cap off Spooktober, I asked you to listen to the song Suicide Doors by Lil Uzi Vert from their most recent album, Pink Tape, which came out in the summer. This song definitely has some dark undertones and themes. It's a really heavy, aggressive song. And there's a shout out to The Crow in here. So I thought, since we've already done two songs from The Crow soundtrack, we'll do a song that also references The Crow, albeit briefly. So, Darren, why don't you just hit play on Suicide Doors?
I don't know. Where the fuck am I? Whoa! Fuck you and fuck your bitch. I don't give a fuck about none of y'all niggas. Y'all niggas try to ban me from this shit, but I came back. I do what I want, I do anything I please. I feel like bitch, I'm the Crow. Whoa! I feel like bitch, I'm the Crow.
Alright. Lil Uzi Vert, we've heard the music before, but this is quite a different direction compared to the other stuff. So, tell me, what did you think of Suicide Doors?
Okay, I'll tell you what I liked about it, and then I'll move on to what I didn't like about it. I thought the track itself was fantastic. It's a dark track. I like the growling. I like the fast pace of it. I love the anger in it. So those are the things that I love. It's doesn't outweigh its welcome. It's dynamic enough. So I thought the track was really, really good. Now, do you want me to tell you what I didn't like about it?
Yeah, please.
The rapping.
Okay.
Okay. When a song like this, where the singer or the rapper of the song is trying to come off dark and maybe angry and tough, I'll say, and they use auto-tune, to me it just sounds like Cher is singing the song. You know?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. And I don't associate Cher with any of those things. I mean, she did make Witches of Eastwick, so that's a gothy kind of movie. But that aside, he just, I don't know, it just came off as try hard maybe or weak. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
So my thoughts on this song are that, well, firstly, I love it. It's probably my favorite song from this album that came out this year. But that's also because it must be said, it must be acknowledged, this song is basically a Playboi Carti ripoff.
Right, yep, I could see that.
Yeah, if you think back to the song Stop Breathing that we did a while ago from Carti's genre-defining Whole Lotta Red album. That whole album had so much of this type of instrumental with Carti like growling and screaming and doing all that stuff. So when this song started, on my first playthrough of the album, I basically went, wow, this is just Uzi doing Playboi Carti.
Right.
And I love it because I love Whole Lotta Red. It's one of my favorite albums of all time. I love that sound and what it did for hip-hop currently. So I do really like this song.
Yeah, I like it. I like the song too. Yeah.
But Uzi just, I don't think has it in them to pull it off to the extent that Carti does. So that's how I feel about it.
That's perfectly said. Yeah.
Yeah, Uzi's always been more of like a pop rapper. They make more upbeat songs. They're really good at making that drugged out, fast-paced banger.
Right.
This is not that. However, having said all of that, I do heavily respect Uzi for trying this.
Sure.
Because it is so different from the rest of the catalog, and it is such a big departure that I don't think Uzi nailed it, but I respect them for trying.
Yeah. I just think if he didn't have the auto-tune, I think he probably could have done it, because the track itself is really good. But it lets the song down. It just comes off, to me, at least, comes off as really weak and try hard, as I said.
Yeah, I also, I mean, this has been well established, but I also don't have a problem with auto-tune at all.
No, you don't.
So
no, of course.
that's definitely informing my feelings of the song and yours.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would like to see Uzi revisit this type of sound and like another album once they get more practice at it and can refine the rapping and singing a bit more. I also think this song was very much made with the intention of being played live, because I've seen videos of this being done live, and oh my god, it's fantastic.
Yeah, is the rest of the album like this, or is this a one-off in the album?
A couple other songs dabble in this sort of sound, but this is definitely the one that really goes for it the most, I'd say.
Okay, yeah. Like I said, liked it, but didn't like it at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And did you catch the Crow line where he says,
I did, yeah.
I feel like I'm the Crow or something?
Yeah. Great. Like I said, perfectly set song for what we're doing today,
Yeah. So, for next week, you're going to listen to Fade into Nylon by Beacon School.
All right, cool. I decided that I'm going to go a little bit different. I'm going to get you to listen to the Kinks. We talked off air that you don't know a lot of the Kinks music. So yeah, we're going to listen to the Kinks for the next month. And the first song we're going to listen to is a song called You Really Got Me by the Kinks. So that's the song we're going to listen to.
All right, cool. I've heard of the Kinks. May have heard some songs in passing, but I'm excited.
And for Who Played It Better, we have, last week you listened to Nine Inch Nails, we listened to Joy Division, Dead Souls. Who are you picking for Who Played It Better on those two songs?
Got to be Nine Inch Nails for me. I don't know if it's just because I heard their version first.
Yeah.
But it just feels better to me. I like the guitar in the Joy Division version a lot, but Nine Inch Nails, I think, did it better.
I'm going to go with Nine Inch Nails too, because they're at their prime of their powers. So, this is when they were just getting into the best music of their lives. So I'm going to go also with Nine Inch Nails for the Dead Soul songs, even though I do love the Joy Division version as well.
Yeah, cool. 2 for 2.
Cool. All right. That pretty much wraps it up. We're just going to quickly get into our independent artists this week. We're going to listen to Mermaid Waters out of the Gold Coast here in Queensland. I think this is a perfect song to finish off Spooktober. This is a hard, good song, and it's called Hold a Grudge. And gentlemen, we're going to talk to you next week.
You don't know how to make people like you, and you find yourself holding a grudge against them.
action. Uncovered, cutting ties with the blade of a dagger. From the back and I guess it shows. A heart burns and I'll never let go. You're the black sheep of the wolf pack. Sharp teeth will butt back. You've lost control. A heart burns and I'll never let go. You've got your reasons. On the tip of the tongue, making noise like a shotgun. Playing dirty like a demon. Can you feel it stuck behind your teeth? Say what you want, mate. Say what you want, mate. Say what you want, mate. Lights out, little monster. Why don't you come a little closer? Disguise, exposed. I've got a grudge and I'll never let go. You've got your reasons. On the tip of the tongue, making noise like a shotgun. Playing dirty like a demon. Can you feel it stuck behind your teeth? Say what you want, mate. Say what you want, mate. Say what you want, say what you want, mate.
You've been listening to Just Hit Play. To contact your hosts, Peter and Nick, or to be featured on an episode as musical talent, email justhitplay7300@gmail.com. Keep up to date with news and announcements by following on Instagram and Facebook, linked in the show notes. Subscribe on your favourite podcatcher to tune in next week for more sonic delights. And if you can't wait till then, check out the Just Hit playlist on Spotify, linked in the show notes. A special thanks to me, Angie Moss, for the theme song, featured in the soundtrack to Strange Breed, a Moss Siblings production, linked in the show notes. And thank you for listening.